What is going on, man? Trying something different. I wanted to try shooting during the day. It has been so beautiful today. I wanted to try this golden hour thing. It might be a disaster, so if the visual aspect looks terrible, just put your phone in your pocket, take a walk, and just listen to the message that I have to convey, and I hope it helps you. I want to talk to you today about reactivity. I used to be a very reactive person. And what would happen would be I'd get stimulated, I'd get triggered by something, and, it would cause some pain. But it was my reaction that usually led me down the path of hell, essentially. Pain is a part of life, and whenever you experience pain, the best thing that you can do is sit with it, bring awareness to it, get through it. But your reactivity is oftentimes what causes the suffering aspect. It psychologically sends you down this rabbit hole where you get more and more angry, more and more sad, whatever it might be. And then you tend to attack the other person for doing something against you that bruised your ego in a sense. And this isn't to gaslight yourself, okay? Hurting people hurt people. I'm sure you've heard that phrase before. And when someone, especially someone close to you, it could be a parent, a lover, an ex. I have to deal with my son's mother quite a bit. We are no longer married. We are no longer together. And there were plenty of times, it's like she's known me for 12 plus years at this point, and she knows exactly what to say to me to send me into a spiral, essentially. And life has taught me that when I get triggered by these things, to take some time, to do nothing, to sit in that space between stimulus and response, and then choose how I want to respond instead of just reacting out of emotion. Usually when men react out of emotion, that's what makes you come across as weak. It's not the fact that you're a human being that feels the full spectrum of human emotions. We need to honor that aspect of you and that aspect of me. But it's the reactivity that makes the world respond in a negative way, and it can cause not only you to spiral, but your environment to spiral. That space between stimulus and response, I first heard that from Viktor Frankl in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. This is a guy who was in a concentration camp, and he noticed, hey, my power lies in this space between stimulus and response. And so as you start to play with this and your awareness starts to grow, the easiest thing to do in those situations when you want to react aggressively or angrily or whatever it might be is to stop and just do nothing. Something else that has really served me in life, we live in this age of text messages, and sometimes I'll be dealing with people, could be family, could be my son's mother, whatever it might be, and I will feel the reactivity within me. I'll open up my notes and I will respond exactly how I want to respond. I will rip them apart. I will say all the things that defends me, defends my ego, puts them in their place. And then I don't send it. I let it sit in my notes. And I usually tell myself, all right, I'm going to send this in a couple days. I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to reread it, and then I'll send it to them in a couple days. And 9 times out of 10, after a couple days have gone by and things have settled, I have more clarity, the reactivity isn't as extreme, I end up not sending it. I end up being filled with gratitude that I didn't send it, that I stood my ground, that I didn't do anything. And then I'll respond with more groundedness, with more precision of speech that conveys my higher self, my truer essence, who I know that I am. So one of the biggest lessons in life, especially for men, because a lot of us have a lot of anger, a lot of rage within us. I think that's part of the masculine collective. That's something that we all wrestle with. It's usually that feeling of injustice. It makes you want to lash out in anger. Learn to harness that. Learn to be still. And this is me preaching to the choir. You know, I'm not talking at you. I'm also talking to myself. And this is something that truly has served me more than anything else. Instead of digging myself deeper and deeper into a hole, sometimes problems just solve themselves. Oftentimes, they solve themselves. If I can keep my big mouth shut, maybe take a walk, maybe meditate, gain some clarity of thinking, and then take action, and then respond accordingly. There are a lot of men who are in prison right now who, had they applied this... It's funny, I'm talking about prison right when a cop drives by. Had they applied this, it would have changed their entire outcome. It would have changed their entire life. And of course, there are levels to this. You might be in a relationship with a woman that you really love, that you really value, that you want to keep in your life. Maybe you want her to be the mother of your children. And by keeping your reactivity in check, you might very well save that relationship. Now, if you are someone who has had a less than desirable outcome because of your reactivity in the past, then I would encourage you to forgive yourself. To forgive the actions or words that you've spoken that have led to a difficult outcome or a difficult life. Don't hold on to that. Don't hold on to that past. Don't beat yourself up. Just bring clarity to it. See it for what it is. And learn from it. Whenever we learn from things, whenever we learn from our mistakes, whenever we learn from catalysts, they end up being a huge gift. I've had tons of mistakes, tons of catalysts that I look back now on with gratitude. I would not be who I am today. I would not have the compassion, the understanding, the groundedness had I not made those mistakes. Of course, if you can learn from other people's mistakes, that is ideal. But the reality of it is that that's not always possible. This human experience is very intense. These emotions that arise within us are very intense. And so, all you can do is the best that you can. Get your reactivity in check. If you're in a situation in life right now and you don't know what to do not take action out of fear. That's another thing. Many points in my life, I've made hasty decisions out of fear. Wherein if I would have taken a few days, gotten still, allowed the emotions to settle, allowed myself to get grounded, I would have made different choices. And again, we want to find that balance here between not gaslighting yourself, not denying these emotions, these sensations within you, but then not being a slave to them and not allowing them to take hold of you. I guess the paradox there is I do oftentimes talk about honoring your feelings, letting it come to the surface, feeling everything. But usually you want to do that in a container, in a space, whenever you're not surrounded by people, you're not surrounded by those that you want to protect, those that you love, whether it's your children, whether it's your spouse, your girlfriend, whatever it might be. You want to get grounded, you want to get to that quiet space, go within. If you need to cry, if you need to punch a pillow, whatever it is that you need to feel, let yourself feel that, because that is how we heal. You have to feel it to heal it. But in the midst of life situations, you have to resist the reactivity. Deep breathing, going within, is what will allow you to remain in a state of calmness in those situations. Road rage is another example. Driving now is a very meditative practice for me. I feel like a 90-year-old woman can cut me off and I'll have like a split second of reactivity. And then in the midst of driving 20 miles an hour, I'll take a deep breath and probably start laughing and see it for what it is. Be like, wow, this reactivity really wants to emerge right now. Thank you for this catalyst. Thank you for this moment where I can get still and not let it overtake me. And I believe that this is possible for every single individual on this planet. Obviously, there are different challenges that we all face. Some are more difficult than others, but it's still valid, whatever you're going through. Whether you are a person who doesn't know where your next meal is going to come from, or you're struggling to deal with your spouse, the emotions are real. And I believe that we're put here to learn how to overcome that and not become a slave to it. Weirdly enough, a sentence that really helped me and changed my life is that problems don't exist. And the old me would hear that and be like, oh, problems exist. Like, look around, look at the world. But when I started to reframe it and understand that problems don't exist, it's just challenges. It takes the victimhood mentality out of it. It's like, okay, I'm faced with this challenge. I feel the emotion welling up within me. I feel the urge to be reactive. This is here to teach me. This is something to be overcome, and as a result I will be stronger, and I will continue to be forged into the evolved version of myself who can actually positively impact the world and serve other people. So all of it is part of it. I hope this helps you. At the end of the day, reactivity is the biggest obstacle and one of the biggest demons that we men face. Learn how to become Zen. Even if you are dying on the inside, in those moments, bring awareness to it, allow it to be there, and then choose your response. Don't react on the thing that is the loudest part of you. This really comes into test, especially with children. If you have a 3 or 4-year-old toddler and they're having a tantrum, they're screaming and they might smack you or something. As a man, you might want to react. And that's why history has a lot of fathers who physically abuse their children. And that has been one of the biggest catalysts for me. I've got a son, and he's pretty difficult. You know, he's got a very strong will. I think he gets that from his mother. But in those moments, that has helped me more than anything. It has taught me how to be less reactive in the world because I get to practice all the time with him. And while initially it was something that was very difficult, it has made me way more grounded in the world. And I'm grateful for it. And that's what a catalyst is. It's something that's difficult, but forces you to evolve if you allow it to help you do that. That's all I got for you today. I hope this video turns out. I don't usually shoot during the day. If you're interested in any kind of coaching or mentoring, I have room for 2 more clients. So if that interests you, link in the description. There's also the Conscious Men community, where like-minded men, we do 2 group calls a week. We get to have really good conversations, and it's just a safe place for men to talk about what they're going through. There's all kinds of topics we discuss, whether it's dealing with women, whether it's fitness, whether it's spirituality, which I believe is the foundation of all of this. So check that out. You're loved, you matter, and you've barely scratched the surface of what you're capable of. I'll talk to you soon.